Check this.
Hello, this is Socially Triggered, and this video is going to be about Canadian healthcare system and how it almost killed me. For those that don't know me, you can almost see it in the background. You see those trophies? That's from my my long career in judo. I know I don't look like the type of guy that does judo, but I've been doing judo for over 20 years now, and actually not too bad at it. I'm a third-degree black belt in judo. But several years ago, I had to stop judo. And the reason I had to stop was I was teaching a class, and I had one of my students demonstrate a throw on me. And when he demonstrated the throw, he just did it completely wrong and prevented me from protecting myself when I landed. And he basically drilled my head into the mat. And afterwards, I had all the symptoms of having a concussion, and I had a very sore neck. So I immediately went to the emergency room in the hospital, and there I waited for 4 hours before seeing a doctor. And I thought, okay, this is horrible. I'm really dying here. I felt like I was dying. It was brutal. And what happened was I saw the doctor for maybe 2-3 minutes. He said, yeah, you probably have a concussion. And I said, well, can I get an MRI or some kind of thing? He said, no, you'll be fine. Just, rest and we'll set you up with a specialist. So I thought, well, okay. That's kind of annoying. I kind of wanted a little bit more research or something into what was troubling me because I felt really messed up at the time. So I went to the specialist and I asked him. This was like 4 months later. I asked him, hey, can I get an MRI? Because I really feel like there's something seriously wrong with me, and beyond the concussion, just something seriously wrong. And I spent about 2-3 minutes with that doctor after having waiting for about an hour to get that, even though it was an assigned appointment, I waited an hour just to go to an appointment that was already assigned. And when I met the person, it was maybe for about 2-3 minutes that I spoke to him. And he basically gave me a piece of paper about what you can do if you have a concussion that I could have downloaded from the internet. So I was like really frustrated. I was like, well, can I just get an MRI and, something to do a better analysis of what my problem might be? And he said no. So then I went to a series of clinics, and I tried to find out about how I could get further testing to find out what was actually wrong with me. And after about 2 years of, begging and pleading with different doctors, I finally got a doctor to agree to schedule an MRI for me. So it took about 2 years to get the MRI that I should have gotten way back when I actually got the original injury. So I got the MRI, and then several months later I was waiting for the results. And several months passed, and then I got in contact with the doctor, and she said that I would have to see a specialist, and that I would have to go over what they found in the MRI. And they said there was something there, that they saw something in the MRI, but they really needed me to discuss it with a specialist. So it's like still in the dark. I have no idea what was wrong. And then basically several months, almost a year. So it's going on 3 years from the original injury. I finally met with a neurosurgeon who was assigned to my case. So I met him. He showed the results on the computer of the MRI. And you could just instantly see what the problem was. One of my vertebrae is broken. It's totally broken. So I have a broken neck. And if you look at the vertebra, the spinal cord here, it's almost touching the spinal cord. There's a bit of spinal fluid in between the vertebra and the spinal cord, but it's kind of protruding towards the spinal cord. So if it was any more like pushed, I guess, towards my spinal cord, it would have severed my spinal cord and probably would have either paralyzed me or killed me. So I didn't know what to do. I mean, this is insane. So the doctor's like, well, strangely enough, my body somehow, what they normally do in this kind of circumstance is once you have the injury, they immediately rush you into some kind of surgery, because any movement can basically kill you, where you basically, you're at that fragile state where you can easily become paralyzed or die. So he said that, strangely though, in my case, I should explain. So what they do is they normally have a surgery where they take two of the spinal, the broken one and one that's a vertebra that's not broken, and they fuse them together as a way of creating a stronger bone structure within your neck, so you're not suffering the problems of potentially becoming paralyzed. And that's the way that they kind of resolve the problem. However, in my case, strangely enough, my body did this on its own. So my two vertebrae are actually fusing together at this time. They're not completely fused, but they're almost fused. So even after all this, I still have to go to another doctor, which is many, many months away before I find out what about the concussion symptoms that I'm suffering from, the pain and all this kind of other stuff. And I'll have to discuss with them on what I can do. So this has been almost 4 years of the whole process. I finally find out what's wrong with me. And it was kind of a dilemma because the whole system failed me. They didn't treat my situation seriously. I mean, even though they semi-treated it seriously, that they realized it was a concussion, they didn't provide the proper diagnosis or allow for the proper diagnosis, because they didn't want to, use the resources that we have available, like MRI or X-ray or something. And this is the problem with the healthcare system in Canada. It's slow. It's ineffectual. It doesn't find out what the problems are half the time. And even when you find out what the problem is, then you still have to wait. You're onto another waiting list. Had I been in any other country where I could have paid to see a doctor, to get the necessary diagnosis, like at least get an MRI, basic diagnostic tool, then I could have resolved this problem much, much earlier and probably saved myself 4 years of pain. So the Canadian healthcare system, for the media hypes it all the time as being this great system, but it really failed me. It almost killed me. And it's because of this lack of interest by the doctors. When you meet a doctor here in Canada, you spend hours waiting for them. And because they don't get paid very well in Canada, because they don't get to control their own fees, well, they only spend a couple minutes with you. They really rush, and go to the next patient so they can see as many patients as possible. And in doing so, they never give proper treatment to any of the patients that they see. And it's I feel bad for the doctors because it's part of the way the system is managed. that they don't really have say over their own fees and over the way that they can treat people. So doctors are not able to be proper doctors here. And the system is so backlogged with people who are trying to just come in for free, that it doesn't allow for the proper time that's required to see all the patients thoroughly. Now, if you paid for the service, if we could pay for the service, we could, well, it's up to us how much we're willing to pay. Like if I was willing to pay. I mean, I lost so much business and work from the fact that I was in constant pain. So I would have gladly paid even a few $1,000s, because the amount of money that I lost was much greater than that. But in Canada, it's illegal to pay for your healthcare. And that's because we have a universal healthcare system. So never let your country, for those in the US, when they hear Bernie Sanders going on about a single payer system, never let your country go down that road, because it's horrible. As a Canadian, I'm living this single payer system where we have no choice. It's illegal to get treatment that you pay for. So hopefully you'll appreciate this video. It's one of the reasons I don't like the universal healthcare system, because of what it has done to me personally. And I see it happening to other people as well. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please tell me about your experiences with the healthcare system. And bye for now.
Check this.